If you don't want to be like everyone else, then you have to be willing to make the sacrifices that others avoid. That's the advice my mentor gave me when I was just starting out, and it's stuck with me ever since. I started out with no credentials or money, but I still managed to become a multi-millionaire, largely by avoiding the 7 pitfalls I'm going to reveal to you today. The first thing to dodge is chasing only money. Picture this. You land a cushy, high-paying gig that's not too demanding. You quickly start stacking cash as your income rises. Your buddies will think you're crushing it, and your parents would likely beam with pride. But over time, your earning potential would plateau. That's path A. Now imagine instead you take on a tough but well-paid job. You might struggle for a couple of years as you sharpen your skills and adjust. Bills might even pile up. Your friends could assume you're floundering, and your folks might question your choices. Yet gradually, your earning potential takes off. That's path B. So, what sets these apart? Path A puts cash first early on, while path B focuses on 2 key things: skills and equity. Every millionaire I've met opts for path B. It's the only way to amass real wealth. As I said, I left school at 16 with no qualifications. Still, I hustled for jobs and got over 5 offers. That left me with a big call to make. Which to pick? I chose to apprentice as a carpenter. The pay wasn't stellar, but I knew the skills I'd gain would be gold, so I prioritized those. Equity in the business wasn't an option, but at least I wasn't just working for a paycheck. That job taught me a ton, and though I had to walk away after a brutal robbery by my manager, I still lean on those skills today when designing my radio-controlled airplane sales brand, which I ship worldwide. Mastering a wide range of high-income skills ensures you're never broke again, while turning yourself into your greatest asset. I like to see every job I held in my youth as adding to my skill set, like a Swiss Army knife. These days, I suggest focusing on internet-based high-income skills like copywriting, video editing, and coding. Demand for these is soaring, and from experience I can tell you there's a serious skill shortage right now. Sure, plenty of folks dabble in these, but 99% don't reach a top-tier level. Truth is, your competition isn't that steep. Now, on to the second thing. Equity. This just means owning a slice of a business so you can reap its profits. My radio model brand is a prime example. You can snag equity in different ways. The most straightforward, which I did, is launching your own venture. But you can also earn it by working in one if you're exceptionally skilled in key areas. That's called sweat equity. Finally, you could buy into a business, though I don't advise that much unless you've got skills to boost its growth. My pal Simon Squibb often goes public, urging people to start their own companies or ask their boss for equity. I fully back the idea, but you need some self-awareness here. First, it's fine to work for someone to build skills before striking out on your own. Second, keep it real. I never dreamed I'd get equity in the carpentry gig as an apprentice, so when you ask, make sure you've got a solid case for why you deserve it and how you'll add value. Not just take from it. You've got to first become someone worth that equity. The core point is that too many get dazzled by cash alone, overlooking skills and equity. That's the real trap. The more you fixate on just making money, the less you'll likely earn long-term. The second thing to avoid is splurging on a lavish lifestyle. Imagine cruising Dubai's streets in a flashy yellow Lamborghini. You roll into a sleek restaurant and order a $500 filet steak without blinking. Feels like the picture of success, right? Here's the reality. Most folks you see living like that are far from successful. Many lease cars they can't afford, funding Dubai trips on credit, then spend 5 months paying it off while ordering steaks at salty joints that leave them with bills they can't handle. They're faking wealth while sinking into debt. It's all smoke and mirrors. Way easier to flex on social media than build actual riches. Seeing people flaunt these lifestyles might tempt you to play the same game, especially when it feels like everyone's living better than you. But that's far from the truth. In fact, 37% of Americans can't cover a $400 surprise expense, 39% stress over meeting their tax bills, and 60% of US couples can't swing a new car. Once you've made your millions, buy what you want. That's the perk of wealth. But early on, you can't live like royalty and grow rich simultaneously. Instead of splashing out on depreciating stuff like shiny cars, designer gear, and fancy lunches, invest in assets, businesses, stocks, crypto, real estate. These grow in value and spit out income for whatever you desire. The third thing to sidestep is going it alone. You might be ace at what you do, But no matter how hard you grind, you'll never outpace a talented team working together. Check out anyone who's made it big in sports or business. Dig a little and you'll see they had help. Take Elon Musk. On the surface, he might look like a lone genius who did it all, but that's dead wrong. He was part of the crew that kicked off PayPal. When eBay bought it for $1.5 billion in 2002, that group of newly minted tech millionaires spread out like wildfire. Now they're dubbed the PayPal Mafia for their clout. Post-PayPal, they launched heavy hitters like YouTube, Yelp, LinkedIn, and SpaceX, often investing in each other's projects and tossing around ideas. But what if you're not aiming to start the next billion-dollar firm and just want to boost your side hustle? Well, plenty of older businesses are clueless about tech and online tools. Many don't even realize there's software for everything: team management, invoicing, project tracking, website building. I don't blame them. Back in the day, we didn't have this stuff. But now younger folks have a legit edge. If these old school owners can't handle the online shift and know they can't do it solo, guess who they need? You. You can drag their businesses into the 21st century and cash in big. Sounds good, but how? I'd say try an all-in-one platform like Odoo. It's got tools for all that and more, wrapped up in one spot. Take a dated site begging for a refresh. Looks like it's from a decade ago. Hop into Odoo, pick the e-commerce app, set up a business site, say for a gardening gig. Tweak the color scheme with a logo, choose a theme, and edit it up. Their AI even helps with wording. Fast forward 30 minutes, and you've got something slick. You can make serious bank helping older business owners with Odoo's apps or use it to run your own show. I pitched Odoo to sponsor this bid, and they're offering your first app free for life with unlimited support and hosting, plus a custom domain for a year. Links below if you're game. The fourth thing to avoid is drowning in too many inputs. Feel like you're being yanked every which way? Happens in everything. Side gigs, fitness, you name it. Everyone's got an opinion on what you should zero in on. Think of it like this. You're in the middle, and all these voices, call them inputs, are shouting what they think you should prioritize. These spawn countless paths: doctor, entrepreneur, family business, 9-to-5, travel, kids. Call those your potential routes. Too many can fry your brain with cognitive overload, where it just can't process all the options. So, what's the fix? I always start with my end goal and work backward. I didn't know exactly what I wanted long-term, but I had a rough idea. So I tuned out the noise and only heeded inputs that pushed me toward that. The clearer your target, the easier it is to pick the right voices. Cap. How many opinions you take in. Go for quality over quantity. Most folks get buried in random takes, not expert ones. Ditch the generic chatter and seek advice from pros, a mentor, someone killing it in your field, or even educational videos from experts like me. That gives you focused, actionable guidance for your goal. You don't need every detail up front. Absorb one solid input, apply it, then grab more when the next hurdle hits. Otherwise, you'll burn out mentally, hit decision paralysis, and stall out. Some might mistake that for laziness, but really your brain's just overloaded. The fifth thing to dodge is letting ego steer you. Arrogant folks won't even finish this. They think they've got it all figured out, so why bother? That's the issue. Ego blinds you to life-changing chances. Ego-driven people obsess over the big picture, always dreaming of the end game. Sounds good, but it's a trap. Staring too far ahead, you miss the small, vital steps to real wins. Some might skim this just to peek at all 7 points instead of soaking in each one, but they'd miss insights that could fast-track them. When ego's in charge, you convince yourself you don't need advice, especially from those who know more. You might brush off wisdom from folks who've walked your path. Truth is, real wealth isn't just confidence, it's humility to keep learning, to admit you don't know it all. That's where growth lives. The more you learn, the more you see how much you don't know. The iceberg principle. What you grasp is just the tip. The real meat's below. Ego makes you forget that's there. In short, arrogance quietly kills wealth, convincing you you're too good to learn, too smart to listen, too big for the small steps to greatness. The sixth thing to avoid is pointing fingers. There's this Chinese saying, "I love." The man who blames others has a long road ahead. The one who blames himself is halfway there. The one who blames no one has arrived. Picture 2 items in front of me: a magnifying glass and a mirror. Every day, life asks you to pick one. Sounds nuts, right? Hear me out. Grab the magnifying glass and you zoom in on others, a risky move that fuels the blame game. I get it. When stuff goes sideways, it's tempting to pin it on anyone but you. Maybe you've blamed a teacher for a flunked test, though you binged Netflix instead of studying, or traffic for being late even if you left 10 minutes behind schedule. Thing is, those little blame moments snowball into a tough habit. You've probably heard folks say the government hates young people. The system's rigged against me. My boss has it out for me. I'm not rich enough to start a business. Life didn't give me the right breaks. The more you wield that magnifying glass, the bigger your excuses grow. Pick the mirror instead and you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your moves. To live that Chinese proverb and be the one who's arrived, choose the mirror, not the glass. The seventh thing to steer clear of is staying stagnant. That's your comfort zone where you hunker down craving safety and predictability. Imagine it as a tight circle, no gaps, like a self-made jail with no way out, no room to grow. If you're there now, you're not alone. Studies say over half of Brits stick to their comfort zones and 45% fret they'll regret it someday. So how do you break out? Stretch that circle. It's tough. Our brains hate risks, but I learned this young. Here's how it went for me. Back then, my comfort zone was grim. School, studies, subjects I sucked at like math and English. The traditional system didn't fit me. I didn't want to be a banker, doctor, or lawyer. I craved something hands-on. So I stepped out and chased that carpentry apprenticeship. It carved out new space, but I wasn't done. I knew I wanted more, so I dabbled in side hustles, pulling me further into the unknown. Suddenly, the world brimmed with options. Next up, starting my own business. That was a game changer. Big risk, bank loan and all. Best call I ever made. To scale my empire, I jetted to China to find a manufacturer for my radio models. Despite language and cultural gaps, I forged key ties. I ran that business for years, savoring success, but eventually I got restless. Family was content, bank account was solid, but my mind wasn't. I craved more, so I stretched again. Started YouTube at 53. I'd seen so many fakes on there, so I wanted to share my know-how, helping others who, like me, didn't fit the standard mold or who wanted to grow wealth and feel secure. Point is, you can stretch your comfort zone as far as you want. It's boundless, but you've got to believe it. Stay put, and you'll miss every possibility that could have been yours. Want to learn what to do each payday? I'll drop that video up top, but don't click yet. Subscribe if you're in for growing your wealth, all right? Catch you there.